This episode of the Cloud Accounting Podcast is sponsored by Intuit QuickBooks. Accounting professionals and bookkeepers have long been at the forefront of using cutting-edge technologies to take the profession to the next level and to ensure they're delivering the best possible service to their clients. Whether you want to grow your firm or sharpen your skills, Intuit QuickBooks provides you with the AI-driven products, services, and the resources that you need to help all sides of your career take shape. To learn more about how QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Online Accountant, QuickBooks Live Bookkeeping, and the Pro Advisor program can help you grow your practice and scale your impact, head over to cloudaccountingpodcast.promo/QuickBooks. That is cloudaccountingpodcast.promo/QuickBooks. QuickBooks, backing you.
Because I don't do taxes. I'm a CPA who hates taxes, right? I'm unusual.
Welcome to the Cloud Accounting Podcast. I'm Blake Oliver.
I'm David Leary.
And I'm Michelle Long.
Laura Redmond.
G'day, I'm Clayton Oates.
Wow, we have Laura, Michelle, and Clayton here. We are at day 2 of QuickBooks Connect. Yes, they had some famous people on stage, but we have the accounting famous legends with us for this podcast.
Oh, so great to have all three of you sitting at the table across from us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for asking us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering about that word legends. That just sounds like
I know.
old.
I know, right?
No.
Well, I'm talking about myself here.
No, I truly think like all of you guys are legendary in your own way, right? Michelle, you're legendary because back in the day for QuickBooks, there was this QuickBooks community. It was like when companies used to host their own forums, pre-Facebook
Right.
groups, pre-LinkedIn groups, and you answered like 35 or 40,000 questions.
A lot.
Every night for like 4 years. And then that led you and you became a legend there. Then they shut that down. You moved to LinkedIn and then 100,000 people joined your LinkedIn group. And then Laura, you were like the first QuickBooks Pro Advisor to move to cloud in like 2011. Like nobody was in cloud then.
We had our firm and our first client on in 2005. 2011 is when we pushed all clients.
All
Oh,
clients too.
wow.
And then Clayton, you kind of discovered QuickBooks in Australia. I think it was a Reckon product then. And you saw there was a conference in the States and you're like, I'm going to file in the States. I don't know anybody there. It'll be fun.
It was in Vegas, baby. I could do that.
And I will never forget meeting Clayton Oates in Las Vegas. And you used to wear costumes to all of these parties.
Oh, that's right.
I think one year you were Austin Powers.
Yep.
Smashing, baby.
I
It was
remember
amazing.
that. And Jacinta looked amazing.
Oh, behave.
One year you were Crocodile Dundee. One year you had a crocodile with you.
Yeah, mate, that was Struth Crocky, I'll tell you.
And I want to thank you, Clayton, for teaching me as a first-time attendee to one of these conferences, as a newbie in the accounting tech industry, like that it could be fun. Right?
It
And
has
it could
to be.
be
It's a part of your
really,
life.
really fun.
Totally.
So,
And you guys are carrying that candle bright into the future for sure. So this is going to be good.
So for all of you, this is, I think, your 6th QuickBooks Connect, like myself. We've been to a bunch of these. So what's the big takeaway this year that you guys have seen?
who wants to go first? Michelle.
I think the big thing is apps and automation and AI. And like Sasan said on the main stage today, that our technology's been changing rapidly in the past, but over the next 5 years, because of AI, it's going to change faster than ever before. And so I love the idea that Intuit is here to help us, to bring us along on that journey and to help us keep up with the technology. So that's kind of what I've been thinking anyway.
I see the industry trying to keep the conversation about advisory going and it's evolving. I think they're trying to define what exactly it is. How do we do it? They've been talking a lot about, doing things like value pricing and advisory, and we're getting more into the how to do it for everyone as a collective industry.
I suppose I'm seeing a couple of things. One is from Intuit's side, the step up in innovation and delivering. I think Arisha's session yesterday was, wow, okay, we're really starting to see perhaps that next iteration of evolution of cloud. And the other piece is preparedness by the advisor, so mindset probably more than anything. That it's been interesting watching Australia, New Zealand, US, and sort of being in both markets really over the last 6, 7, 8 years here. So definitely the mindset and opportunity and preparedness of the audience to adapt and adopt and run with the new solutions. No longer are we sort of you're way out there 5 years and all that so forth. It's just this convergence now where people are really starting to run on the same road globally. So I'm excited to see where this country can take this future, because this is a big tap, and I think it feels like it's getting turned on right now.
Where are your guys' practices at? I know you guys have all had practices, grown. I know some of you do training, you do other things. Clayton, I don't even know what you do anymore.
That's a great question.
You just conference.
He just travels.
I might use this podcast as the catalyst for our dinner time conversation. This is actually what Dad does. Well, for me, I still have kept the firm. So the firm grew out of an accounting practice, software advisory, consulting, recommending solutions, training and support. It's just 1994. I thought this thing was going to be over in about 2 years. I thought everyone's going to have all this sorted. So we
1994. Blake, were you alive then?
I was
Yes.
I was up and kicking.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I was 12. No, I was later than that. But the thing was, now being independently owned and operated for the last sort of 18 years, we came out of the accounting group. For me, it's we've still got the consulting business, so we're actually out there as a team, and I do a little bit of this, of walking through clients' businesses and doing the site reviews and walking through their business systems. And now, sort of just trying to plug in what we know and learning at QB Connect, for example, and what can suit and fit that market need for clients. So we're not the accountant, we're not the bookkeeper, we're the software advisory guys, and we hopefully play a role in connecting the accountant with stronger connections with their clients, also the bookkeepers, and importantly, the technology vendors as well.
This is going to sound cheesy, but in the cloud, that's where we're located. And let me explain. I live in Silicon Valley. That's where I am. But my COO is on the East Coast. We have staff on the East Coast. I have people in different states. So we really do have Zoom meetings and Google Chat. We're on all day.
All remote.
All remote. And then I've got Arrow. We're all remote. We're headquartered in Charlottesville, Virginia. 3 of us are out here, though, on the West Coast. So our meetings are all, and there we're in Slack and on Zoom.
So Arrow, so you have an app.
Have an app, called Arrow Workflow. Yes.
So you run your app company and your accounting
And
firm
accounting
all
firm.
100% remote.
Correct.
Got it.
Wow.
And we have a new advisory institute, all remote.
Very cool.
And I'm excited. I see more and more firms. I'm meeting new ones I'd never even heard of that are completely remote. Yeah, and we're not talking 6 people. We're talking 60. It's getting...
Well, and it's not just accounting firms, it's the small businesses now.
Yeah.
They may not have a physical location. They have salespeople that are doing their thing, and they may have us or somebody doing the bookkeeping and the owner. They may not have a real physical office anymore. They're all working virtually too. So I think that's pretty cool. I've been focused lately on doing app selection and integration and working with other pro advisors and things. And as always, I love the consulting and training. So I love it when I'm on the road. I had a hard time this spring because of my foot surgery. I didn't get to go on the tour, and I sat home and I watched everybody posting all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm missing out. So
But she's back on, and we're teaching together next week here. So we also are on the road traveling for things like, conferences like this, or when we teach QuickBooks.
I think that's one of the great things too, actually getting out to the community.
Yes.
I love roadshows. I've done over 100 roadshow events in the last 10 years, and often with vendors, and our own business was built off the back of roadshows, going to where the community and the audience is.
You tell everybody your secret. You go to all these conferences, you don't look aged, it's not wearing on you. How do you do this, Clayton?
I love the fact that this is podcast.
Yeah.
There's no video here. Look at my hair.
Should I describe how he looks?
No. He looks fabulous, and you don't
Kind of
age.
gorgeous.
Well, it gives you an energy, doesn't it? Fulfilling work and fulfilling contribution. This is what it's about, ultimately. We happen to do tech, we happen to do accounting, we're in the client relationship, client service business. So
I'm starting to think the secret is the Vegemite.
That's his secret. You got to Vegemite.
That stuff is awful.
Clayton is... I know, right?
my gosh.
But it must have health benefits.
Well, the thing is with Vegemite, if you have a really late night, and that's conference scene, right? And a really big night, the next day, if you take some smashed avocado, because that's the thing these days, and a slither of Vegemite, and you eat that, you may feel marginally better for 30 seconds.
This episode is brought to you by Vegemite. Vegemite. It keeps you younger longer.
That's just awful. I tried it when I was down in Australia. And the only way I could describe it is it's like car oil or something. It's just awful.
When you're brought up on it, you don't know any different.
I know.
So we're at QuickBooks Connect number 6. You all were at number 1. So what is the biggest change that each of you has noticed from 1 to 6? Michelle, start with you.
I think I noticed way more networking and interactions, and the accountants are really coming out of their mold, and they're not as quiet, and they're welcoming to new people. And the thing I love is seeing all these people who know one another online from social, and everybody here is like a hugger. Oh my God, it's great to finally meet you. And, people aren't sitting in their own little corners. And I think it's just really a great conference with a lot of networking going on. And I encourage people to do that. I'll tell them, don't sit by somebody or somebody you came with, go sit by new people. So you get to know more people. But I think the networking has really improved a lot over the years.
Well, other than those brain dates or whatever, they had you sign up appointments. If you wanted to learn from Blake, I could have signed up for an appointment. Not that Blake was not in the brain dates, but this is the concept of it. And I could sign up and Blake could teach me how to do a podcast or have a better voice.
I'm going to make David officially sign up for brain dates with me from now on.
Well, everybody can have a brain date with us every week if they subscribe to the podcast.
I did a brain date.
That's right.
I signed up for a brain date with a marketing person yesterday.
Awesome.
So even if you're a legend, you still can learn more.
Oh, my.
We're always learning.
We are constantly working on our businesses.
Laura Redmond, what is the big change
Difference
for
between
you?
1 and 6?
Yes.
I would say I have no data on this, but I sort of feel a shift from maybe Intuit dollars on marketing and, just go to the cloud. Now everyone kind of gets that. We're all in the cloud. Yeah. And so I seems maybe a shift to dev, right? I mean, I feel like big features are coming out and being built faster, seems. So I love that. Yeah. That's fantastic because that's what we really need. I mean, we do love each other as a family, and that is a great part of this. But, when we go back to our clients, we need features. We need tools.
Wasn't that exciting, some of the stuff Arij brought out yesterday with the bookkeeping review and the KPIs and stuff? I'm like, yes, I love that stuff.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Now we have a visual to sit down and talk to our clients about.
How about you, Clayton? Biggest change from 1 to 6?
Well, it's hard to remember back 6 years. I can hardly remember yesterday. But look, I think it's the preparedness of the audience to... I saw it, it's gone in waves, where people have perhaps, when they first come into this arena, and, this whole space is new. 10 years, think of it, for even like other vendors and independent events around the world. So there was this overwhelm. People would come into the audience and just the abstraction, I suppose is what I call it. We're distracted by all the apps. It's like, wow, I need to know it all. There's this stress and anxiety basically build up. And I sense we're getting over that hump. Different people will go through at different stages, but there's a base camp level perhaps that we've helped establish in a way to put that sort of concerns and fears to one side or alleviate them very quickly so that we can get on with actually partnering and taking action and creating a future for ourselves and the people you're serving.
That's an interesting observation because somebody last night was saying it just felt like there was a downer in the room. But I think you're right. The energy level is just that anxiety, that stress isn't here now. I think you're right.
If you overlay,
oh my God, I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna lose my old practice if I don't go to cloud right now today. If I don't do advisory,
and I think you overlay. If you look at the Gartner hype cycle, I don't know if you're familiar with that or people out there, but take a look at it. There's this effectively this technological change that happens at cloud. A platform type shift, and we tend to overhype the whole thing. You think of the driving cars.
Like podcasting.
Podcast is a thing. That's a thing. So then we get under this overinflated expectations, and we sense that we're missing out. Are we the only ones that don't get it? If everyone's going to move to it straight away, but then you move to this plateau. This trough of sort of disillusionment, and it's like, oh no, it's not that. But we have overinflated expectations. Then it moves out to this plateau of productivity, slope of enlightenment, plateau of productivity. That's boring in one sense. It's not as hyped up and overhyped as exciting, but that's where the stuff actually meets the road.
Is that where we are?
Yeah.
Party's over, back to work?
Which is great. Yes, I think in Australia we have definitely on that slope, almost past the slope of enlightenment and to the plateau of productivity. And that's not a place to be afraid of. That's where we actually get out there and start implementing, making real change to the clients and people that we're serving.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more because, I remember 5 to 7 years ago, we were doing freedom in the cloud tours where we were introducing people to the cloud and all that. Now we're talking about the apps, app stacking, app integration, app selection. I call it appifying the processes. Yeah. Like you say, helping these clients and ourselves to automate these processes to get significant efficiency and time savings, and people have accepted it now. I agree with you.
Okay. And now that we're out of that trough of disillusionment, you see the larger firms deciding now is the time to make the shift. I met a woman this morning. Firm is 70 plus people, no cloud accounting whatsoever. All desktop-based Thomson Reuters GL product. Yep. And she is here. She's been hired by the firm to move all of their thousands of clients from that product to QuickBooks Online, and she's here scoping out the apps and going to build a stack and going to do it.
Does she have someone to hold her hand through that?
Does she need some help?
We just took our firm helped another firm do that about 9 months ago.
The important part, did you tell her start with the Cloud Accounting podcast? Let's should listen to that first.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Binge listen.
Binge listen.
Yeah.
She needs a partner in that.
No.
What's next for you guys? Like, can you be more legendary? Like, what are you doing next? What are you doing next week? What do you think you're gonna do a year from now? Like, what's coming up?
I don't know if I want to say.
Oh, breaking news.
Exclusive.
Oh, that's exciting.
Well,
I'm hopefully working on another book.
Oh.
So
All right.
I'm not going to give the name or the details or anything, but hopefully I will have another book coming late spring. So I'm hoping over tax season, because I don't do taxes. I'm a CPA who hates taxes, right? I'm unusual. So I'm hoping to get it done. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Maybe you can get an Audible deal, and Clayton could read it.
Oh, there you go.
I was hoping I'd get you to write my book. I've got one in me.
Laura, how about you?
Next week, Michelle and I are on the road teaching Grow Your Practice in QuickBooks, and I'm so with Arrow Workflow, we have 2 big launches coming right now, starting beta. We've got a whole new interface, and then we've got Arrow Advisory, which allows you with all of your knowledge capital, your documented processes, all your checklists of how you do things as a firm. You can now open an Arrow account connected to yours that your client can log into. You can pass your checklists right onto them, and you can have them run their own accounting department, sort of like extending without having to staff it. You're the advisor, you're the knowledge capital, they depend on you. You're not just giving away a PDF of how you do things, and which lowers the value a bit. You can have like a subscription service sort of and help be the advisor in that capacity. For Redmond Accounting, we're growing our sort of advisory side, and we've got a new Entrepreneurial Advisory Institute, which is anyone familiar with EOS program, Entrepreneurial Operating System? This is used by hundreds of companies. So we're getting into that. That's all about leadership and executive teams and things like that.
What's coming for you, Clayton?
That sounds exciting. Well, the very near future is in about 2 hours. I fly to Melbourne to my wife's family reunion, so that's good.
And my first question is, how many days does that go on?
Well, it takes 2 days to get there. It goes through 3 days, so from one party to the next.
I just knew it. I knew it wasn't a 2 hour something.
No, it's 3 days. Look, beyond that, I suppose what I'm curious about and trying to explore what contribution I can make is, having been around this for sort of nearly 30 years, actually, is I'm always curious, having grown up in the accounting profession, as to the challenge of a client-focused, ethical-based profession coexisting with essentially what's been a sales-based, product-focused industry, and the coexistence of the two parties, because we tend to have quite different agendas, and I think together we've got to really come together stronger. The profession needs to have conversations that are perhaps maybe they're not having at the moment with vendors around the world. How can we work better together to actually help the small business client and customer? So. And I suppose the other thing that I'm starting to do more of is actually working with app vendors in terms of working out their strategies around actually partnering with professionals. And, in some instances, we may have that conversation and it's not a strategy they should adopt. And so you've got to know that before you actually start doing it. And, so therefore, just helping them at more an advisory board type level, helping them with their go-to-market strategy, or actually, even for accountants and professionals, there is nothing wrong with being a channel to market. Totally nothing wrong. In fact, we should partner deeply with software vendors. The challenge is where you don't know that you are a channel to market. And that's where expectations are misaligned, and we sort of need to bring a few things. Technology companies bring innovation. Control what you can control. They need to bring innovation, which is fantastic. Bring great partnership. If you're going to partner really, really well, like forever mindset, because that's what we have in the profession with our clients. And then bring manners and respect. And so when I talk about that also, I talk about, hang on, professionals, we need to do exactly the same thing. We need to participate in the feedback loop, spot challenges, but never take a problem to a vendor without two solutions. Work on that before you go and talk about what you've found that's wrong, and bring empathy and understanding commercial reality, understanding the world that the vendor lives in, a whole lot of competing forces there, have empathy, but also bring your manners and respect as well. So I think that piece, I just want to, there's so much, there's latent potential here, so I want to see more of that and play a role in that.
Okay, so if anybody wants to get a hold of you who's not already following you on LinkedIn and Twitter and the socials, how do they get a hold of you, Michelle?
Long4success.com.
That's it. But on Twitter, what else?
I have my links out there on my website, but it's Michelle Long CPA on Twitter.
Okay. And Laura?
I'm Laura at arrowworkflow.com.
Clayton Oates, OATES.com, or Clayton_Oates on Twitter. And I'm in Australia, so come visit.
Yes, I'm going to take you up on that.
We're taking the podcast there to Clayton's backyard. Clayton's backyard. We'll broadcast from there.
As always, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Blake T. Oliver. And how about you, David?
I'm at David Leary.
Thank you all so much.
Wow, thanks for having us on the show.
Thank you.
With these legends.